The interim government in Dhaka has urged the international community to address the growing humanitarian crisis. Tanvir Chowdhury's got more from the refugee camp in Cox's Bazar.
In August this year, 22-year-old Hamida lost both her parents and her son in an attack by the Arakan army. Hamida later fled to Bangladesh with her youngest sister and her surviving one-year-old child. She struggles to rebuild her life, taking refuge with a relative.
In early August, while we were working at home, we were suddenly surrounded by a group of Arakan army members. They first assaulted and then raped one of my younger sisters. All my family was screaming in fear. They then shot and killed my parents and my 6-year-old son. After that, I was brutally raped by 4 of them. They then abducted my younger sister. We have no news of her.
16-year-old Rezaul Haq was badly injured in a drone attack on his village last July.
Most of the fighting between the Arakan army and the Myanmar army is taking place around Rohingya Muslim areas. They are using drones to attack us, and we are caught in the middle.
The Arakan army, seeking autonomy for Rakhine State, wants the ethnic Rohingya out. Recently, the United Nations expressed fears of the repeat of the 2017 atrocities against the Rohingya minority in Myanmar, warning a human tragedy is unfolding in Rakhine State. Thousands of Muslim Rohingya have fled the recent fighting and have taken shelter near the Naf River, hoping to cross into Bangladesh. Azida Begum recently fled to Cox's Bazar with 3 family members.
Most of the Rohingya people were driven away by the Arakan army. We ended up near the riverbank, opposite the Bangladesh border. Then they targeted us with a drone attack. Many people died and I was injured.
Recently, the head of Bangladesh's new interim government, Professor Muhammad Yunus, described the Rohingya crisis as a ticking time bomb that could explode unpredictable ways. He called for an international solution to the crisis. That solution remains elusive. Tanvir Chowdhury, Aljazeera, Cox's Bazar.
Ishita Kumar is an advisor at Legal Action Worldwide. It's a non-profit organisation providing legal support for people in conflict areas. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. I was just reading that apparently over 15,000 Rohingya have fled to Bangladesh in the last 2 months. And as Tanvir was saying, more still trying to cross the river to get there. In terms of providing legal support and legal security for people in this kind of crisis, how difficult is it to try, if nothing else, just to sift through the large numbers of people you're having to deal with?
Thanks so much, Rob. Certainly, I think the conflict dynamics are extremely complicated and fluid in the Rakhine at the moment. And in terms of numbers, just to quickly revisit the most recent reporting of the meeting between Special Rapporteur Tom Andrews and Chief Advisor Dr. Yunus, in fact, indicates that the numbers are as many as 30,000 who have already entered, in addition to the people who are, of course, waiting at the border to enter. In terms of legal support, so as my organization, we are working on documenting and pursuing accountability for the crimes that have been committed in Myanmar. It is certainly a big challenge. There has been a lot of progress ever since the 2017 clearance operations. Survivors have started to give their testimonies. There was the UN fact-finding mission that recommended for investigation, prosecution of senior Myanmar military officials. There's an ongoing International Court of Justice case that was brought by the Gambia that continues to go on. We are expecting oral merit hearings next year on this. Recently, the prosecutor has in Argentina has also requested for arrest warrants for over 20 Myanmar officials, and the decision lies with the Argentinian local federal court, which is looking into this based on the universal jurisdiction principle. So while there are international justice processes that are ongoing to look into the accountability aspect and address the root causes of the crisis, which is something that we have seen even the interim government focusing on quite a bit in their engagements across in the recent months, including during the UNGA and the open debate at the UN Security Council. So that's definitely something that needs continuous attention because the conflict doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. Having said that, the trauma that the new arrivals are coming with and the sheer number of actors at play in this new wave of forced displacement that has happened, it does make documentation extremely difficult. If we look at the OHCHR reports, that are coming out in terms of the killings that have happened in the Rakhine, how the Rohingyas have been targeted. It has been difficult to determine responsibility, but all of that to say that there are efforts ongoing at the moment to provide them legal support to the extent of documenting the stories. We heard from the survivors earlier as well, who was with Tanveer. And these are exactly the kind of accounts that we are also hearing. And at the moment, we are trying to really understand the conflict dynamics and the responsible parties, because there has been IHL violations, both from the Myanmar military and our militants.
I can understand there essentially, and forgive me for oversimplifying, but it seems to be like a two-pronged thing, short-term and long-term. It's the short-term element of trying to get legal documentation and check legal documentation for those in the camps and heading into the camps at the same time. Alongside that, there's the longer-term process of accountability and ultimate prosecutions. In terms of the people who are in the camps, where is their priority in terms of wanting the documents that allow them to travel and to exist compared to the need for some sort of accountability that has driven them out of their country?
Absolutely. Of course, there is a lot of value in the registration process that has allowed the 2017 survivors to continue to be in the camps legally. Unfortunately, the registration has not been done for these new arrivals, 30,000 and perhaps upwards. We are still waiting for the headcount to come. However, there has been some progress, which has been positive. They are now being issued tokens that allows them to access food rations and some kinds of healthcare. There were a lot of new arrivals, especially during May and August, who came following attacks in Budjong and Mongdo in the Rakhine state, who came with conflict-related injuries from mortar shells and bombing, drone attacks, and they did receive some medical aid by MSF, immediate treatment, because it was simply impossible to get that in the Rakhine due to the humanitarian blockade that has been imposed by the junta. So the situation is very challenging. There is life-saving aid that these new arrivals are able to get, but the registration is something that has not been formally done so far for them, unlike the previous survivors who had come during the 2017 clearance operations.
Ishita Kumar is from Legal Action Worldwide. I'm grateful to you for being with us on Al Jazeera. Thank you very much indeed.